Okay, so all this protesting stuff is getting out of hand. Like, let's be real. You're in the streets, like you're getting a little violent, like you're disturbing class, like like you're just being ridiculous, right? Like protesting doesn't have to be ridiculous. It can be like actually peaceful and non-disruptive and like do you think standing in traffic is going to get more people on your side? It's not. It's not going to get more people on your side. It's just going to get more people looking at you like, look at these dumb people ruining my day. So I don't know. We're gonna have to figure out another way to protest because this is not working out. It's really not working out. Like, can you do all your stuff without bothering me and everybody else in the world? Or that's what I would say if I was just like not smart and I didn't understand the significance of protesting. um, I'm not a good liar, so that probably looked really fake. Because it was. Because I have a problem with these protest people. And like this has been for a while. Like this is something that's just been like in the last couple years, I feel like protesting has really sorry, I'm tired. Protesting has like really elevated to a a a level that I think is like really just important. Like for me, like the first like protesting that I started to notice was like actually like well actually let me just say the first protest I ever participated in was a sit-in protest in my high school because they wouldn't expel this girl that was racist and her friends. So that was the first protest I was ever in. Um and then my same high school tried to do like a organized protest. So this our protests at the school, we basically took over um the school. Like everybody was leaving class and we all sat in and we're like, "Hey, like this is not right. Like you need to expel this girl." Oh my gosh, you can see this light right here is the window. But it's like it's kind of crazy. Anyways, yeah, so I'm sorry, I don't want my knee to be in there. But that was like the first protest I participated in. I left my class. I was a freshman, so I was only 14, and I left my class and I went to the lobby and I sat with all the rest of the students, and we were like, no, like this is not okay. Like you need to get this girl and get all the rest of these people out of this school. Like you can't just suspend them for a couple days. Like so the year was almost over. She was a senior. Like it was like, hey, um this is not gonna fly. They were kind of just trying to brush it under the rug, but we wasn't standing for it, okay? We wasn't standing for the racism and the everything. Because the school at when I went to that school, it was a majority white school. So we were like us as the students, we were like used to the racism, but then it was like it all compounded. And I think it was a really good thing because in the rest of my school career, I really I felt like things did improve like a little bit, or at least people knew that if they did something racist, like they would be called out for it versus before they would not be called out for it. And then in this same school, the next protest we had was what I would say an organized demonstration from the administration that because we were planning a real protest, well, a real protest, it was like a gun law demonstration, right? And so this was after the Parkland shooting. So it was really like we had just done like a Alice drill. Alice drill is the new lockdown drill for if there's an active shooter. This is the one because before if there was an active shooter, like there's a bee in here. No, it's not a bee. It's a wasp. And the cat's trying to get it. But before, when it was a lockdown, you weren't really like you. If okay, so if there's a shooter, if you're close to the shooter, you have to stay in your class. But if you're far from the shooter, you evacuate the school. That's what like a normal lockdown was. But like the way you would learn at school is like you would just lock down in place and you wouldn't discuss any other methods of like being safe with your teacher or anything, right? But then the new lockdown rules after the Parkland shooting, well, like the Parkland shooting, all of that stuff. That's when they were like, okay, y'all can run out, run in the zigzag, get weapons, throw it. Like that's when they told us to fight back if the shooter was in our way and evacuate if we had like an opening for it. And I'm not gonna lie, that was scary. Lockdowns are scary enough, but like when you're a American student and you think you're gonna die, like you've never had a real lockdown yet, but the possibility of like a shooter being in the school is very high. Like, and you think like one day like we might actually die in a shooting at school. Like those type of high stress situations, like the students we're going to do a demonstration in support of gun laws, and we wanted to. I think we did actually have we did have a senator. I think maybe it wasn't a senator. I don't know. It was a government official come to the school to speak with us, right? Like about gun laws and stuff. And we were gonna do a blackout day, and then we have counter protesters that wanted to do a whiteout day. And the thing is, like, what are you counter protesting right now but in support of the lives of people being taken? Like, I'm so serious. Like, it was so dumb. Like, I know it was a very small amount of people, but it was just like why? Like, why are you doing this? Like, what did you do? Did you kill it? It sounded like she broke something, right? But yeah, so my thing with the counter protesters, like I'm freedom of speech, okay? Freedom of speech. And I do think you can protest whatever you want to protest cuz at the end of the day, it is like your belief. So, yes, I think like certain counter protest people are very annoying, but at the end of the day, like, and I don't agree with them. A big part of it is you don't agree. But even if I don't agree with these people, I understand that only in America, I don't, other places, the right to protest is a little bit shaky because freedom of speech is a little shaky over there. Freedom of speech is a little shaky over here too. But I will say, like, you have the right to protest, you have the right to demonstrate. And if I'm demonstrating on the other side, they can demonstrate too. But it better be non-violent, and it better not like become a conflict. 9 times out of 10, it'll probably get a little conflicting because I'm gonna be real. The counter protesters, like, they weren't protesting at first. Okay, they counter protests don't start protesting until the other side shows that they are protesting, that until the other side gets like, what am I looking, the word I'm looking for is on the tip of my tongue. Exposure. Until the protests, the initial protesters get exposure, that is when the counter protesters start. Because then they're like, no, we need to show the whole world that we don't agree. Versus just talking about these people like, oh, they're crazy, they're crazy, they're crazy. Like, but yeah, so they did that counter protest with the whiteout or whatever against gun control in the school, and then in the when the Congress lady, when the government lady came to the school, they were asking her like, oh, what about shooting hogs, like the dumb stuff. Anyways, anyways, so then I think the next protest I went to was BLM. I think my next protest I went to was the BLM protest, and this is when I was like I was already like, yeah, like protesting, like I'm going to stand for the things I believe in, and if standing for the things I believe in at a certain level is not just interpersonally defending what I believe to the person I'm talking to, when it becomes standing for what I believe in society, like in a society, in a societal manner, so that I can make sure me and all the other people that agree with me have an amplified voice, like I will be there to do those things. Like it was during COVID. I went there. I put my little COVID mask on, and I walked with the group. I had my friends with me, my best friend, and we walked to the I think the city hall. We walked to the city hall, and we just chanted there. And I think like protesting makes me very emotional because it is beautiful that people can come together to protest. Like we can all come together. Like we might have different beliefs on how things should take place and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, we can come together and stand in what we believe in. And especially when that belief is against the loss of life, against the violence of the state. Like when those things are happening and people are coming together, like risking like a lot, honestly. So like this was my first BLM protest, but I watched the riots happen in my city literally, what was it, 2015. So I was a kid and I was scared that there was going to be protesting and riots, right? But then as a young adult, I was like, wait a minute. Like, I get why the people are doing this. Like, how, like, what do you expect is going to happen when people are faced with injustice? Like, literally, somebody has died, and instead of persecuting the people that have killed them, you're just standing back, like, hey, it is what it is. Like, it happened. I don't know what you want us to do, but you're the government. You are the governmental body of this city, and you have done nothing. Or in a grand scheme, you are a branch of the government. So this is where we get into like when it is a bigger societal thing. Maybe the event taking place did not happen in our hometown, but it happened in another city or another country. At the end of the day, we need our message to not only get to the body that is supporting like the overarching government, but the reason local voting matters so much is because in your area you can do so much and it will just branch out. It will, like, if your mayor does one thing, then your governor is like, hey, that's a pretty good idea. And then your governor does what your mayor did because the surrounding counties also want that to happen. So then your governor does it. Your governor does it. Another state's governor does it. Another state's governor does it because they're like in a little alliance. Like, okay, then another state's governor does it. All of these governors do it. And then the federal government is like, oh, wait a minute. The state government, like the states And the people in these states are showing that this is the type of stuff they want to happen. That's why when the abortion bans happened, one state did it. So it was kind of like a top down, then down around type of thing. So then the Supreme Court was like, oh, Roe v. Wade, whatever. And then Roe v. Wade was gone. And then states were like, okay, time to ban abortion. So then one state was like, okay, we're going to do it like this. Then a bunch of other states were like, oh yeah, 15 weeks, 15 weeks, 15 weeks. And then one state was like, 6 weeks. And then a couple more states was like, oh, 6 weeks. 6 weeks passed, let's go 6 weeks. And then a couple states was like, oh, y'all did 6 weeks, we gonna do no weeks. All types of abortion banned, done. And now other states are thinking about doing the same thing. That's how it works. I personally think that when it's good, it's good, and when it's bad, it's bad, okay? I think banning abortion and the way it worked within the states was bad. That's why you needed, like, the federal law. Like, if you have a federal law, then that restricts, that restricts some of the follower dangerous aspects of what states can do. And it, like, the people in the states are not in favor of the state's actions. That's why you need federal law for some of these things. Because at the end of the day, there's a balance. We need to have a balance. Some people agree with it, some people don't. At the end of the day, if you're pro-abortion, not pro-abortion, you're anti-abortion, right? You're anti-abortion, then you don't get an abortion, okay? The people that are pro-choice, you got a choice. So what's more balanced? Controlling a bunch of other people or letting everybody do what they want? I think what's more balanced is letting everybody do what they want, right? So, like, protest, like, I said all of that to just say that protesting is to get a message out. And, like, with that anti-abortion type of stuff, when you have a bunch of people in your city protesting against the anti-abortion laws because they're inhumane, honestly, and they are putting so many lives at risk, they have put lives at risk. People are already suffering because of these anti-abortion laws. You protest in your state and you show your government that this is not going to fly. Then, if it doesn't fly in that state, it's not going to fly in all the other states. If you're in a state where abortion, however way it is still 100% legal and 100% safe to go and do, and you're protesting in your state, you know what you're doing? You're not just putting pressure on your state government, but you're putting pressure on the federal government to do something about these people, these governments in those other states acting a fool. Because you are fighting, when something is not happening directly to you, you are fighting for the livelihoods of other people. You are helping amplify their voices. If the government of that state is taking away their abortion rights, then they definitely don't care about their freedom of speech and what they have to say. Because if they cared about what they had to say, that abortion stuff would have never flew in the first place. It would have never went anywhere. Because at the end of the day, that is taking away somebody's rights to their own body and to their need to not have children, I guess. But you have those things, and then you have what we're coming up on now, which is the pro-Palestinian protests. That's what I'm going to call them. Because at the end of the day, these protests are about the lives of the Palestinian people. And the Palestinian people have been suffering for, I think, almost 6 months. They've been suffering for a long time, right? But the most recent suffering, which led to and still is contributing to the mass killing of these people, these innocent people, is what is being protested about. These protests serve multiple functions. One is to make sure that basically our government and the Israeli government understand that we are watching them. We know what they're doing. So we know what they're doing, and we are not on their side. We are supporting the Palestinian people that are being slaughtered in the thousands, right? So that is what it is initially. And then because these are occurring on college campuses, they're not just happening on college campuses, which is like a significant part. It's not just happening at colleges. The why it's happening at colleges is because, excuse me, but these college students, these university students are paying tuition. If you're getting my money, then my money shouldn't be going towards making a campus in Israel that some of my peers, some people that go to your school will never be able to step foot on. Palestinian people, if they are not okay, so if you leave Palestine, right? If you are sent away from your home, you are not allowed to come back. And that is like a big part of why I'm calling it an ethnic cleansing. That's why it is an ethnic cleansing. Because if you push somebody out and they can't come back, then that means they're no longer there. You know? Like, that means they don't exist there anymore. Even if there's like a couple of them straggling around, you have basically eradicated them from the area they're in. Even if you didn't kill all of them. Like, they're gone. They're gone and they can't come back. And they can't go to Israel because you said, no, y'all can't go to Israel because you got Gaza and you got the West Bank. And we don't want y'all in here. If we can't let the people in Gaza from Gaza and the West Bank in here, why would we let you in here? I don't care if you're technically American Palestinian now. It doesn't matter. Because they don't care. And these universities don't care. But they're starting to care a little bit because you know what? Their money-making machines have an issue with it. And the issue, like, people being so anti-protest, not realizing that these students, it makes me emotional. But, like, I think it's such a beautiful thing that people are willing to put everything on the line. You probably have so much student loans. You probably have debt. Like, you went into debt to go to this school. And you are willing to give all of that up because of what you believe in the value of human life. Like, that is something so beautiful to me. Even though it shouldn't be like that, you are willing to do whatever you can, risking expulsion, suspension, not graduating, having your degree revoked. You're risking losing your livelihood. And in these types of protests, you're risking arrest. You're risking so much to stand for what you believe in. And the fact that other people, like these anti-protest people, do not see the value in having people like that around just really disgusts me. I don't get how you would feel comfortable living in a world where there's no people that are standing up for what they believe in. I know that it might be a little annoying that they're in the streets. So what? Literally, so what? When you get to your job and you're late to work and you're like, hey, like, there was a protest in the street. You think your boss is going to be mad at you? No, they're not, because they probably was stuck in the protest in the street too. So a lot of people have a problem with collective struggle because they see it as individual. So if you and the person in the car behind you are both stuck in the traffic, is it not just regular traffic? Even if Even if protesters are causing the traffic, I don't know, look at this protest traffic as a car crash in front of you. There's a car in the middle of the road that cannot be moved. You're gonna be annoyed by that car in the middle of the road that can't be moved. But at the end of the day, what can you do about it? Nothing. You're gonna sit there and you're gonna wait until the car is moved. And then you're going to get to work or wherever you had to be and tell them there was traffic. Okay? There was traffic. There was an accident. There was protesters. At the end of the day, it does not matter. These people are in the streets fighting for the livelihoods of others. They're fighting for what they believe in. And you believe in something. And the day that something you believe in is put into question, you're going to hope that you're not the only one standing in front of the government building, standing on the side of the street, standing somewhere where people can see you, asking for change. Okay? You're not going to want to be by yourself. And maybe you're like, I'm so happy for everybody that doesn't have anything that they believe in so deeply that they don't think they'll ever have to protest in their life. And I hope you never have to protest in your life. But all I'm saying is, like, if somebody kidnaps your mom and the government knows somebody kidnapped your mom and you want to get your mom back, but the government doesn't care about getting your mom back, you're going to be standing in the streets hoping that other people also want you to get your mom back, even though your mom has nothing to do with any of the rest of the people in the whole world. They're standing by your side because they think you deserve to have your mom, right? Like I don't know what else I can say here, but right now you're lucky that you don't have anything that you are fighting for. But unless there's a miracle, that will not always be the case. And you are going to want people to stand on your side. When protesters are beaten and arrested for peacefully protesting, because the protests were 100% peaceful, especially like at Columbia and UCLA, 100% peaceful until police were called in. Police escalate the situation. Or like UCLA, it was the counter protesters that escalated the situation, which then called for a police presence, and then the police apprehended the UCLA students and the protesters there. Right? So, if you are like, yeah, let the police do what they're doing, let it keep going, then when you have a problem and people want to remove you from a public space because the thing you care about is not important enough to have other people standing around you, or because everybody's so scared that they might get beat to death by the police, you need to look back at what you're saying now and realize that is your fault. The reason you don't have anybody standing with you is your fault. So here you are trying to fight for what you believe in, but those around you won't stand with you because back in the day, you were like, these protesters, somebody arrest them. Somebody make sure they can't protest because it's bothering me. It's violent. Even though 9 times out of 10 it's not violent till it gets violent. Because of outside people. That's like the riots. BLM riots started as peaceful protests, but then they slowly escalate. One, because of anger. So like anger, and then escalators within them. Protests are not 100%, like, they don't vet everybody that's at the protest. It's not something that they can possibly do, because this is a demonstration welcoming anybody willing to speak and willing to risk their livelihoods for something they care about. So you're not gonna be checking everybody at the door like, hey, do you actually care about this thing? Do you really care? Or like, what are your intentions here? You're not doing that. They're not doing that because that defeats the purpose, you know? It defeats the purpose. But anyways, I just needed to say that. And my lunch is here. And I'm gonna eat. And I'm going to feel, I don't know. I'm gonna feel sad that there's so many people in the world that don't understand the purpose of protests, but also happy that there's so many people that will risk everything in the name of what they believe in. And they know they're not alone. And I'm just saying this, like, if you're watching this and you're protesting, like, you're not alone. I might not be in the streets because I got work, but but at the end of the day, there's people supporting you. And I know, like, these people on the news are so loud. They're so loud. But from what I've been seeing, everybody, all ages, are in support of these protests. Like, they understand the significance of protesting. Even the old people. Even the old people understand. So, thank you for listening. This is like a longer video, but I just felt like I definitely needed to say something because it was just like weighing on my chest, and I was just like crying because I was like, oh my gosh, like, I think this is such a good thing, and seeing so many people like, oh no, this is horrible, this is horrible, this is horrible, get out the streets, go home, stop wasting time, stop being disruptive. All of that stuff was just annoying me so bad because I'm like, how could you say that? How could you say that? But anyways, before I get back into literally the exact rant that I just had, I'm gonna leave. Bye.